Greetings and welcome back to the Old Ways Rising Farm YouTube channel. This is going to be another installment in the Introduction to Wood Carving series, and here we're just going to do some final touches on this little Tompton ornament. Now what I'm going to do you wouldn't absolutely need to do. When you're making a little Christmas tree ornament here, you're making something which is going to be in a busy environment, and sometimes simple is better. What I want to do though is one last little thing. As you can see, as I discussed in the Christmas goose video, I use this knife and the Sloyd knife to cut in and lower all of these layers and facets so that his arm is proud of his shirt and his shirt is proud of his foot. When I make these little ornaments, I make them as basically a two-sided relief carving, right? So if you look at it here, it looks complete. If you look at it here, it looks complete, and it will hang in the tree that way. To look at it on end, he's only got 1 foot, right? But again, this is a small object in a busy environment, so sometimes simple is better. So I don't get carried away with detail here. I do make all these incisions to crisp up the lines between the different parts. Okay, that's all done. His hat is finished. There's that final incision around the edge of his hat as I did around the hat of the goose. It's all those same techniques. The last little thing that I want to do on this guy that I don't do on every one is I want to carve a hair texture into his beard so that the region that is his beard stands out visually from the rest of the regions of the carving. The only tool you need to do the only tool you need to use to do this, I can't word today, I need a little bit more of this coffee apparently, is the hawksbill knife. The other tool that works for this, if you are a chisel gouge carver, you can use a V-gouge to do this same thing. Both tools will work. I like the knife better than gouges. It's a little bit more tactile, and I just personally feel I have a better sense of what the grain is doing when I'm using knives rather than chisels. That's a personal opinion. That is not some statement of ultimate fact. Okay? So when I'm doing this, are you zoomed in here, hon? Can you see the detail? Good? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the tip in, and I'm just going to carve a gentle curve and remove a thin V shaving. Okay? You can start anywhere on his beard. This should end up looking kind of random and a little unkempt. Just going to make a shallow cut, one direction, turn it over, come meet that, and make a shallow intersecting cut. And remove that tiny shaving. Okay? Is that showing up on the viewfinder?
There we go, yes.
Okay? So that is one little shaving of what will be many. To keep it a little bit random, I like to just make a couple of long shavings at various places around his beard. And then I will come back and make a bunch of shorter ones to fill in the space between. The human tendency is to develop sort of a pattern and repeat that pattern very symmetrically, which is good if you're doing geometric work, if you're doing geometric chip carving, but is not so good. Trying to position this so that you can see and I can see what's going on at the same time. When you're trying to do something like hair, didn't quite meet up on that one. Totally fine. Just go back to the first cut, deepen it a little bit. There we go. You should never have to pry one of these out. But when you're doing something like hair, which even in the best kept hairdo has a lot of randomness going on, you don't want that perfect pattern. So do a little bit to force yourself to randomize things, and this is a good way to do that. Okay. So you see I've just put in a couple of shavings, okay, scattered around. Now I'll come in with smaller, shorter bits and fill in all of that empty space. The Tompton is a little person in Northern European stories, who in some stories is very Santa Claus-like, in other stories is sort of a farm helper. If you take the Tompton stories and add a storyteller who's had a little bit of Amanita muscari, you get our modern Santa Claus.
Amanita muscari is a mushroom, just FYI.
Yeah, and it's one of those mushrooms. It's involved in certain indigenous religious practices in Northern Europe. Sometimes literally called the Santa Claus mushroom. The mushroom fruiting body is red with white spots. Just like Santa's color scheme. And it is also the mushroom that is depicted in Mario Brothers, if you want to know what it looks like.
I think that's so funny.
It's hilarious. It really is. Has a long history of entheogenic use in Europe.
What does that mean?
Entheogen?
Yeah.
An entheogen is a plant or mushroom that is used to induce religious feeling experiences in shamanistic practice.
Okay. Some of our viewers might not know what that is.
True. This is carving with a botanist. Okay, so I'm just covering this beard with these little flakes. I know that sometimes my hands are hiding what is going on. This is just kind of repetitive. I'm trying to show as many flake removals as I can.
And we'll do a close-up after
When
you're
it's
done.
finished. Absolutely. But I do not want to destroy the little guy, so I have to see what I'm doing here on some of these, especially here under his hat. A little harder to see. Now, how much detail you want to put into a carving definitely changes with the environment in which you're going to show it. So if this was intended to be something that would sit on a knick-knack shelf, where people would come up to it and examine it very closely, you would want much smaller shavings and much finer detail. But this is intended to be used on a Christmas tree, so everything needs to be a little bit simpler and a little bit coarser. Because it's in such a busy environment, and the viewer, you can see how small these little shavings are here. The viewer is going to be glancing at the ornament for a few seconds, and then their eye is going to move on to the next ornament. So the detail needs to be a little less fine and a little more bold so that it pops quickly as the eye is moving across it. Because think about yourself looking at a Christmas tree. You're not going to sit there and study every single ornament for 10 or 15 minutes. So it's a different style of carving. Okay. Also, you want, what this is going to do is set up shadow. Okay. So if I kind of roll it in the view of the camera, you can see how the shadow glances across those little cuts and makes them pop. And on a Christmas tree where you have lights all over the place, there's shadow from a bunch of different directions. So if somebody is walking around the tree, they will see the shadows catch his little beard texture and it will stand out from the rest of the body. That's what we're going for with this. Okay? So this side is done. This side will match, and then we will have our little finished ornament. Okay? So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop there and keep this a little bit on the short side. So we're just demonstrating one technique. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I have a bunch more coming. I have quite a bit of quite a few different things planned for after the Christmas holiday. So I hope that you will like, share, and subscribe this video. I hope that you will ring the notification bell so that you see when the next ones pop up. And I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed holiday season. Till then, so long.